Good evening, sir. Sir, can we start?
Yes, you can start. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, fine. You can go on.
Yes, sir. A very good evening, everyone. I'm Annapurna Mahato from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, second year. We have arrived on the fourth day of our student induction program. It is an honor to extend a warm welcome to our respected professors, seniors, my dear juniors, and batchmates gathered here today. Your presence adds immense value and significance to this special occasion. Today, we are diving into a topic that's just timely but timeless: the natural environment. As we step into this new chapter of your academic journey, it's important to recognize the environment as more than just the world around it. It's the very foundation of our existence. Our air, water, forest, wildlife all play a crucial role in sustaining life on Earth. In the coming years, you'll be gaining knowledge and skills that shape your future. But it's equally important to develop a sense of responsibility towards our environment. The choices we make today will determine the world we leave for future generations. Throughout throughout this session, we'll explore the beauty of our natural surroundings, the challenges they face, and most importantly, what we can do to protect and preserve them. Whether it's through sustainable practices, conservation efforts, or simply making more eco friendly choices, every action counts. Today, we are really honored to have our respected Sri Debarita Ray Sir, Assistant Professor of Basic Science and Humanities Department and member of UHV Cell. Now, I would like to request Sir to enlighten us with your valuable words. Sir, please.
Thank you, Annapurna, for the nice introduction. Uh, my name is Debobroto Ray. I am an assistant professor of economics from the Basic Science and Humanities Department of this college. On behalf of the department and the institution, I cordially welcome you all in this session that I am about to start. Now, you have been attending the session for last 13 days. This is your 14th session on the student induction program, and you have heard from different sirs, resource persons about different aspects of understanding and consciousness and harmony, etc., etc. And as in the sequence, today I will be talking on the natural environment and harmony in it, in correlation with the last 13 sessions that you have been attending. Now, the things you might have developed a sense of understanding what is the basic aspirations of human being, how we would like to see ourselves as the individual uh, within ourselves, within our family, within our society, and ultimately as we progress, what would it be like within the nature? Because if you start looking at the existence around you that is a part of the whole natural environment, we are a very tiny part, like an atom in a cell, like a very tiny bit of atom that you can only see through microscope or through electron microscope out of the universe, which binds everything all together and form a unit, and those collection of units form something else in the entire nature. So in nature we exist, we come from the nature, in nature we exist, and again at the end we will annihilate within the nature. like you were born through your father and mother, and your father and mother came through your grandparents. Your grandparents came through their parents. So we and your finally everybody, your parents, grandparents, their grandparents all belong to the nature. So in essence, we came from the nature. The nature binds us, and we stay for a while in the nature. We grow up, we develop certain kind of understanding as to how to live in the nature, and at the end when we die we get decomposed and annihilate into the nature again. So we are all the product of the nature, and at large we are the product of the universe. So having said this, in order to develop a very structured understanding what the natural environment is and how the harmony within the natural existence can be understood and developed further in order to be in continuous acceptance is what I am going to speak in my today's session. I'm going to share my screen, and I will go on as the slides will progress. Okay, as I said, we're going to understand in today's class the harmony in nature. And the harmony in nature fulfills a few things: interconnectedness, the self regulation, and mutual fulfillment among the orders of the nature. For example, if you can think of, everything in the nature is interconnected, and within each unit of the nature there is some sort of self regulation, and with some self regulation and interconnectedness there is some mutual fulfillment. So what are the orders of the nature? That's the question with which we will start. So you have been doing the whole SIP session starting with basic human aspiration. And the basic human aspiration is continuous happiness and prosperity. We all want to be happy and prosperous, and to be in happiness and in prosperity for a continuous period of time. Oftentimes, we are happy at this moment, and sometimes we are unhappy at the other time. Sometimes, in the phases of our life, we are prosperous, and some other time we are not so prosperous. But our basic human aspirations to be happy and remain in happiness and in prosperity continuously. Nobody wants to be unhappy and unprosperous. Everybody wants to be happy. That's the basic human trait. Everybody wants to be happy. Now, what is happiness then? Happiness is to remain in harmony. If you have harmony in the chemical composition within your body, you will be healthy. If there is some sort of chemical imbalance here and there, some sort of infection or high blood pressure or sugar level dropping or increasing, your body is not working in harmony within itself. So you are going to be ill. And if you are going to be ill, you are not going to be happy for sure. So in order to be happy, healthy, your body has to work in harmony. Similarly, when you are in a family with your parents, with your father, your mother, and your brother, sister, your grandfather, grandmother, and so on and so forth, you definitely want to be in a harmonious relationship with each and everybody. Similarly, when you go out in your school for the first time, you definitely want to make friendship with your fellow batchmates. When you left your school, you entered in this college. Perhaps you have done your first two classes in offline mode yesterday and today, or you will progress in the offline mode as we go on. You will definitely make more and more friends around yourselves. So, what is it that making friends with each other. It is to be in harmony or remain in harmonious relationship with your colleagues, with your friends, with your fellow mates. And being in a friendly relationship, you derive peace and happiness. So again, harmony generates happiness. When you remain in the nature, and if you do not cut trees here and there, if you do not litter your campus or your home or your streets, you feel very uh, peace and very calmness and kind of cleanliness, and that is the harmony with, that is trying to be in harmony with the nature. If you see a plant there and the plant carries a beautiful flower, if you do not pick it up for your self enjoyment, rather you enjoy it in its own right and own place, and everybody else like you are enjoying the same kind of blooming flower in the tree, then you are trying to be in harmony with the nature. When we are doing so much economic activity and creating pollution more than what we need, then definitely we are not in harmony with the nature. So the essence is to be in harmony at all aspects of our life will definitely generate happiness. So happiness is to be in harmony. Now, what is the program for fulfillment of human aspirations? So you must understand or you must have understood the program of the fulfillment for human aspiration. First, harmony in the human being, within yourself, within your body, within your mind. Second, within your family. Third, in your society. And finally, in the nature or in the existence. We will elaborate in the final point, harmony in nature and existence today. Now, the process of understanding or process of cultivating the pursuit of happiness, that is to be in harmony, is through self-exploration. Now, what is self-exploration? You give a general proposal to yourself that I will do this thing. And that proposal at the very beginning may be true, may not be true. You don't know. You just begin with a proposal that, for example, I will not tell a lie. That is your proposal to yourself. And you begin with this proposal and check through self exploration whether not telling a lie, whether gives you satisfaction, self fulfillment, and lead you to the harmonious relationship with your fellow mates, with your parents, with your teachers, and in the society or not. If it is proved to be otherwise through self exploration that telling not a lie is a bad thing, then you change your proposal that telling a lie is not so bad thing, rather I must tell a lie, then you will accept that, you will change it to that. But you must not accept at the very beginning if somebody tells you that don't tell a lie is a good thing to do, is not a good good way of self exploration. Similarly, whether doing the right thing at the right moment is your proposal, then through the activity of self exploration, you must verify or confirm the proposal on your own. How would you verify that? It must be verified on the basis of your natural acceptance. And what is natural acceptance? A natural acceptance is that is something that generally people do not disagree with. For example, I want to be in a very peaceful state of the mind. If this is your proposition or proposal, then if you ask anybody at random, everybody will say that yes, I also want to be peaceful and remain in harmony all the time. Whether they can remain in peaceful state of mind or not, that's a different question. But nobody will disagree with you. When you are a student, or when you are in your student life, your natural duty is to study well, behave well, learn as much as possible, and execute your learning in the most creative possible manner. If this is your proposal or statement or proposition, no student will ever disagree with your proposal. Whether they can fulfill up to their proposal or not is a different question. Somebody takes a firm resolution that he will study well, but somehow he cannot study that much harder that he wish it for. But that's a different thing. But everybody, when they are student, wants to make a good score at the end of the final examination. You will accept that naturally. So that is your natural acceptance. When somebody praises you, you feel good. When you do some good work and somebody acknowledges your good gesture and good work, you normally feel very proud of yourself and you feel very good about it, and that feeling of goodness motivates you to do more good. And the more good you do, you get more appreciation, and the more you feel proud of yourself, and again you do more good. So this is true for everybody, and that is natural acceptance. Even the worst kind of criminal in the society will respond very warmly when they are being praised for their any good gesture, and that will be the guiding force for their rectification. So acceptance, natural acceptance is in everybody, but what is your proposition may not be true at the moment on which you are working. So that validation will come from experience by living through the behavior with human being and work with the rest of nature. And that will ultimately lead you to mutual happiness and mutual prosperity. So the question then comes, what is your role in the nature? And how can you develop a harmony within the nature through your activities? Let's see. So far we have explored our natural acceptance. Our natural acceptance is definitely is for living in harmony as an individual, as a family, and as a society. As an individual, as I said, if your body organs functioning well, the chemical reactions are working well, you feel good, you feel healthy, you are joyful, you can do anything you want to do, and you can exert yourself well. So, to remain in harmony within oneself at the mental level and at the physical level is the natural acceptance within the body. As a family, when you are in a family, you naturally want to be in a very peaceful relationship with your parents or your brothers or your siblings. The families which have more quarrels, more kind of cacophony and pandemonium, they tend to be really not so happy, or that is not a naturally accepted fact that everybody should quarrel with each other and you can fulfill your dreams and happiness, etc. etc. So, the natural acceptance within the family is to remain in harmony. Within the society, for example, when everybody remains in harmony, then as a society we prosper. For example, those who are in the medical fraternity, if they perform their duties well, they treat their patients well, and if they treat their patient with due attention and sympathy and care, the patient will feel good and they will reciprocate accordingly with the medical fraternity. If the medical fraternity doesn't do their job with what they should have done, then people will feel agitated against them and there will be some sort of disharmony. Similarly, when workers are working for their employer, if the employer do not take care of their employees, then there will escalate some sort of tension and the disharmony will be the order. So again, in a society, wherever you are, in whichever part you belong to, naturally the harmony within yourselves, within the entities, is a natural acceptance. Now the question is there any provision in the nature or in the existence for living in accordance with our natural acceptance? When we are talking about the individual level, family level, and the societal level, we can understand that thing through our reasoning. Now, when comes the natural environment, is there any provision in reference to our natural acceptance to remain in harmony? Is it possible to live in harmony as an individual, as a family, or as a society? Is there any coexistence or mutual fulfillment inherent in the nature? We don't know, and we are about to explore it. Or is the design of the nature or the existence by way of opposition or struggle or survival of the fittest? So naturally the question comes when we look at the society at large and the nature at large. If we look at the animal planet, the very order of the nature is that of the violence. There is a predator-prey kind of relationship. That may be true to some extent when you want to survive, and you can you have to kill some animal to feed you in order to remain alive. That may be true for that the animal kingdom level. But is that so in the human level? That's the thing. So the struggle for existence, the survival of the fittest, the natural existence, the natural selection from the nature, is it the design of the nature, or there is some kind of provision for the coexistence, mutual fulfillment in the nature? And we will explore the understanding underlying design of the nature or the existence with the question. So what is nature? And the question might come at your mind. We're talking about nature and our existence in the nature. So what is nature? If you don't know what is nature, then you won't be able to understand the other aspects of nature. So nature is a collection of units. What are the units of the nature? Air, water, soil, animals, trees, plants, the very earth on which we live, my ego, myself, human body, the very sun that rises in the east and sets in the west, the moon, any form of physical objects, metal, the raw materials, everything is part of nature. And those are the units of nature. And when all these units of nature are intertwined, interconnected, and remains in coexistence, then we call that is the whole nature. Okay, so nature is the collection of units, right? But nature is a collection of units that we have understood. But what is the order in which this collection of units do interact with each other? So the order of the nature can be understood in terms of four different aspects. What are the four aspects of the order of the nature? The first and the foremost order is the physical order. The physical order comprises of any earth element. What are the earth element? The earth element is soil, the very surface of the earth, the deep surface of the earth where the minerals do exist, within which the metals, other forms of physical elements that builds up the earth system is the physical order, right? Above the physical order is the bio order or the biological order. What is biological order? Comprises of the biological order, you can understand, comprises of the plants, trees, different types of algae, any form of life which have no movement from one place to other, which can grow on their own. That's the biological order, right? So that is the order that comes after the physical order. The third order of the nature is the animal order. which is quite different from the bio order and the physical order. The animal orders are the all form of life other than trees, plants, and vegetables. The animals, birds, other mammals, everything comes under the animal order. And the highest order, the final order, is the human order, us human beings. Okay, so these four orders we can classify for the sake of understanding our nature in a more comprehensive and complete way. Okay, so what is the relationship between these four orders and how do they interact? So that we can understand whether there exists some kind of harmony or not, and if it exists, how the harmony can be further developed. Let's see. We will first explore the relationship between the physical order and the bio order, and gradually we will add one order at a time to come at the full picture. Now, what is the relationship of mutual fulfillment between the orders of the nature, right? There are two things under the mutual fulfillment. The mutual fulfillment is cyclic. That is, it starts from one order, goes to the other order, and again comes back to the first order. So it is cyclic. And second, when the cyclic order gets completed, every unit in the order of the nature gets enriched. And thereby the mutual fulfillment between the order is restored. And what is mutual fulfillment in the order of the nature? One is the relatedness and the other one is fulfillment. So you can think of the mutual fulfillment in between the orders of the nature as the relatedness together with the fulfillment. Now, how does physical order relate to the biological order of the nature? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So, from the physical order, the biological order derives their natural sustenance for growth and prosperity. For example, if you look at a plant, the stem of the plant grows in the direction of the sunlight, but the root grows just opposite of the sunlight within the soil. And from the soil, the through capillary movement, the plant extracts resources and transmit to the branches. And from the sunlight, the stem and the leaves collect the sunlight and makes photosynthesis and creates oxygen and absorbs carbon dioxide. So the physical order, the very physical order provides for the nutrients of the biological order. And the biological order depends on their growth and well-being on the physical order. When the biological order destroys or the biological order gets decomposed, they come again back to the physical order and they decompose at the various stages. They become soil, they become minerals, they become fossil fuel, etc., etc. So there is a cycle that exists between the physical order and the biological order. Okay, and through this cyclic movement, there is mutual fulfillment, a relatedness, and understanding. Now, if we add the other element of the natural order with the biological order and physical order, that is the animal order, again there is some cyclical movement. The animal order receives their food, their shelter, their food from the biological order, and they receive their shelter in the physical order. And again, when the animal order is destroyed, they get decomposed into the physical order like the biological order does. So again, between the physical order, the biological order, and the animal order, there is some kind of cyclic and interdependence, interconnected relationship. Now, what is the role of human order with all the other orders of the nature? The human order is quite unique in a sense as compared to the other three orders of the nature, that human order has the unique capacity of thinking and understanding and self-actualizing, right? For example, biological order cannot think on their own. They have some biological mechanism within their system. They grow, they die, and then they get decomposed and they perish into the physical order. Similarly, in the physical order, there is some definiteness in it. For example, on the surface of the earth, there is a soil which is erosive. Beneath the erosive soil layer, there is some heavy, small, light metallic layer. Below that light metallic layer, there's a heavy metallic layer. And as you go on in the order of the heaviness, the structure of the earth is defined. Similarly, in any physical order, if you look at the universe, there is some definite order. The sun is at the center of the solar system. It rotates around its own axis, and around the sun, the other planets are rotating at a particular speed, at a particular axis, and everything is working in a particular order so that there is some degree of harmony. So, in the physical order, there is some sort of definiteness. Similarly, in the biological order, there is some sort of definiteness. In the animal order also, there is some degree of definiteness. How? Some of the animals are carnivorous, some of the animals are herbivorous, some of the animals are neither carnivorous nor herbivorous, rather multivorous. So those herbivorous animals, those who prefer to live on the plant-based diet, you cannot feed them meat. They will never take meat in their food choice, those herbivorous animals. Similarly, those carnivorous animals, those who prefer to eat meat like tiger and like those animals, they never will eat plants and grasses. You cannot feed them and make them happy with plants and grasses. So there is some definite order in the, definiteness in the animal order. But that is not quite true within the human order, and there is some problem. And therefore, we need a right kind of understanding from the human order about the physical order, animal order, and bio-order. Where is the problem in the human order other than physical order and the animal order and the biological order? The human order is quite different from all other three orders of the nature insofar their understanding is concerned. We, the human beings, have the unique capacity of thinking. we have the thinking power. Our brain is so well developed over the cycle of evolution that we can think, we can solve a problem, we can change the course of the natural order in our own favor. For example, when a river generates at the top of the mountain and to the gradient of the mountains the river flows, the human being can build up a dam and can redirect the course of the river for its own benefit and other civilization purposes. So this is possible because humans can think, and sometimes this thinking power creates some problem. When we overthink, we create some disharmony in the nature. Similarly, when we look at the animal order, and since we can think, we can do some addition, alteration, and deletion, we can change the genetic order of the animal and we can solve the problem of food shortages uh, in a society. For example, we can change the genetic uh, order of the animal kingdom, for example, for the chickens, and we can produce more chickens through poultry farming. So human beings can do that, but that is not the order of the nature, or that is not the rule of the nature that you can mix and match between the genetic coding and create a new species which you can breed commercially. Nature doesn't allow you, but human beings can do the through their own thinking capacity. So here comes the question of education and right kind of understanding within the human order in order to live in harmony with all other orders of the nature. Now, in the physical order, there is some recognizing and fulfilling aspect. Similarly, in the biological order, there again is some recognizing and fulfilling aspect. So is with animal order, but with additional aspect, the animal order can identify with a self within the body. For example, there is some degree of consciousness within the animal kingdom. Those who, those of you who have pet in your home, for example, some of you may have your pet dog in your home, and you can check on your own that your pet dog can understand the sympathies of the human being. If you pat in their head or if you play with them, they will reciprocate with you. So they have consciousness, but their consciousness is not well defined consciousness. They can understand emotion and they can somehow, to some extent, reciprocate, but they cannot think on their own. Their thinking capacity is not there, which human beings have. Okay, so they also identified with a body consciousness and a self, but that self cannot think on their own. And that is the major difference with the human order. In the human order, we can assume, we can recognize, we can fulfill, and we have potential for knowing, assuming, recognizing, and fulfill. So here is the good thing about the human order, other than the animal order, which has a self and a body, and human order also has a self and a body, which the animal order doesn't have, is the assuming capacity, the recognizing capacity, the fulfilling capacity, and the potential for knowing, assuming, recognizing, and fulfilling. So that is where we have to work so that we can make a harmonious and a very connected relationship with the other orders. Now, to give you one example, concrete example, the present day problem within the human order coming from stems from the lack of understanding. Because we human order can think, but our thinking is not refined, so there is some degree of lack of understanding, where this lack of understanding creates problem in the form of pollution. So there is some resource depletion at a rate which is not so required, but for the human aspirations not so well coordinated, with the natural acceptance that we are depleting more than the nature can create, and therefore there is pollution. When the capacity of the nature is limited and the aspiration of human beings is unlimited, then there is problem, and that problem is called the pollution. So the pollution, the product is such that it does not return to the cycle in the nature, and it is produced at a rate that is faster than the rate at which it can return to the cycle in the nature. Therefore, we need to work on the right understanding and develop right form of understanding within the human order so that this over pollution problem can be solved. Now, what are the way these four orders act, operates? In the physical order, the units are soil, minerals, metals, etc. And the activity of these physical units are formation and deformation. They are formed through the natural process, and they can deform through natural process and also through human activities. These are the activities of the physical order, and they are the units of the physical order. So what is it mean by activity? It is the activity within the unit. The soil forms, deforms, the soil changes its characteristics, etc., etc. That is the very nature of the physical order, formation and deformation. In the biological order, the units are plants, trees, vegetables, so on and so forth. Their very activity within themselves is respiration. They do make photosynthesis through sunlight. They extract minerals to their root trap from the soil. They move the minerals to capillary movement from one stem to the other and finally to the leaves, where the photosynthesis takes place through sunlight, and through some chemical reaction oxygen is produced, carbon dioxide is synthesized within the photosynthetic process, and that is formed into the carbon, right? So that is the process of respiration into the biological order within the units of the biological order. In the animal order, the units are animals, birds, and different species of animals and birds, fish, etc. Not only animals, but animals, fish, birds, and so many things like that. And their activity are at two levels: in their body and selecting and testing within the body called I. They have consciousness, but not well defined consciousness. That's why their activity within themselves are some physical activity in the body and some consciousness activity, that is selecting and testing in I. In the human order, the units are individual human beings. You can understand that. And human beings have body and mind. In the body, we have some chemical reaction and chemical cycle. Our different hormones control different activity of the body parts, organs. The very source of the control of the body is in the brain and in the pituitary gland, where the pituitary gland secretes some chemicals that trigger some further chemical secretion to other internal glands, or called the endocrine glands, and through the endocrine glands other body functions are regulated. So in the body level, there is some kind of activity which is not so in your control, but it is some sort of autonomic movement. Other than body, we have a mind, we have a thinking process. And what is mind? That is a very tricky question. Nobody has ever defined what is mind, how mind is produced within the body. That's a philosophical question. What constitutes mind in human body? Normally, we can loosely understand mind in which we see or understand our reality and where we develop our perspective about the reality. So mind can be loosely understood as a form of a screen on which the projection of every aspect of life makes an impression. For example, when you attend a class lecture, you may have attended the class lecture through projector. The teacher may be doing something in the laptop. A projector is connected to the laptop, and the projector projects a screen, the light on the screen, where you can see what is there in the computer or in the laptop. So mind is like that screen on which everything makes their impression. The projector is like your brain, which throws the signals and makes the image on a screen. The screen is the mind, right? So imagining, analyzing, comparing, selecting and testing in I is the all activities of mind. And the mind also has the potential for understanding. And the self is very much different from mind. Okay. So this is the details of the four orders in terms of their units and their activities. Now, what is the innateness in the four orders? The innateness of the, by innateness we mean what is the self-organization, whether it is a, whether it is being in a definite order or in a random order. The physical unit has the innateness of existence. It, the very physical order exists. The earth as a whole exists. The solar system, the physical order exists. That's why we all exist. So existence is the very form of innateness of the physical order. Similarly, the innateness of the biological order is growth. When you put a seed into the soil and you pour water and takes care of other moisturizing process, after some day the germination takes place and you see a very nice beautiful green sprout, and the sprout grows and grows and grows. One day it takes the form of a big tree. The banyan tree that you can see today, which is so big, so large, was someday in a very seed form. The seed that you can hold between your two fingertips. So the very tiny seed that you can hold between your two fingertips now today have become a big, huge banyan tree. So what is the meaning that you can derive from that observation? The observation is that the biological order has its innateness in the form of growth. Every biological order tries to grow or expand their life, growth. Similarly, in the animal order, the quenching of hunger, thirst is in the body activity, and to live in I is the activity in their consciousness. The tiger who kills a deer and eats, feeds its body and feels contented within its body, within itself, that he has fed his hunger by killing a deer. But the tiger doesn't care about the other tigers in the forest. So long his own body consciousness is well taken care of, the tiger is happy. This is true for every other animal in the animal order. The animal order is self-contained, they're happy within themselves. But that is not quite so in the human order. Human order, we always feel happy when we see our neighbors, our friends, our relatives are happy. We, no human being has ever found himself or herself happy when the very person next to him is crying or in a state of pain or in a state of not so in happiness. So the very difference of the human being from the other three orders is that we reciprocate, we can empathize with the feelings of the other human being, with the other orders of the nature, that is with the animals, that is with the biological order, and also with the physical order. Suppose some tree is very favorite to you, and you have been looking at it for a very long time, and somebody comes and cuts it. You'll definitely feel bad for the tree, and maybe you may go into depression. That the very tree that was a very part of your existence, and you derived enjoyment from each other, somebody came and cut it and sold it in the market. Maybe you have grown chicken in your farm, and someday some of the chickens are sold into the market for eating purpose. You are bound to feel sadness for them. That is the very nature of human being, that they can reciprocate, they can empathize. That's the that's the working of the innateness of the human order to satisfy the physiological need, the needs in the body, that is hunger, thirst, other physiological activities, and to remain in happiness within oneself, and to make happy others. That is the innateness of the human being. Okay, so that is a self-organization, and there is no definiteness in the human order. But that is the departure from the other three orders. Finally, what is the inheritance of the orders of the nature? The physical order is constitution based. The very amount of minerals on earth is fixed in quantity. You cannot increase it, you cannot decrease it. You can definitely decrease it through extraction, but you cannot increase it, because the earth is comprised of those constitutional uh, bindings. Similarly, the biological order is seed based. As I said, with the example of the banyan tree, the very big banyan tree that you can see was one day a very tiny seed that you can hold between your two finger tips. That is the seed based inheritance. Similarly, the animal order is breed based. Two animal, one male and one female, beget with each other, mate with each other, and they beget children. And their children, when they grow up, they mate with themselves and then they breed themselves. So their activities breed based. However, in the human order, we are education based or shamskar based. Shamskars means the good imprints of mind, the good gestures or thought process of mind, right? So human being, through education, through good shamskar, can change the course of their activity, can change the course of their very thought process. They can shape and reshape their understanding about their existence in the nature, and can fulfill themselves and their surroundings with the animal order, with the biological order, and with the physical order, and ultimately with the nature. And human inheritance is about passing on the knowledge or the samskars from one generation to the next generation through some tradition. That is why the human order, the right understanding within the human order is so very imperative, that if there is some problem in understanding or problem in the form of execution of the understanding, all the other orders of the nature will be in disharmony. So if you can put it in a nutshell, the human order is at the top of the order in the nature. Below the human order is the animal order. Below the animal order is plant order, and below the plant order is physical order. And the existence of human order in the nature is definitely dependent on the animal order and on the plant order and on the physical order, because the existence of the plant order depends on the existence of the physical order, and the existence of the animal order depends on the existence of the plant order and physical order. And finally, at the top, the human order existence depends on the existence of the all three orders of the nature, right? So the survival of human order is dependent on all the three orders, and they are interconnected. If you destroy all the animals in the forest, wipe them out, your survival will be extinct within few years. Again, if human being extinct all the plants by industrialization, by expanding urbanization, and so on and so forth, all the animal order will be extinct and the nature will be in disharmony, there will be disaster. Similarly, if we extract resources more than what we need, we're going to create an inherent disharmony within the physical order, and the all other remaining order will be at danger. Therefore, we need to understand the dependence of each order and their interdependence on the previous order. That's the main takeaway from our understanding about the harmony in nature, right? So, in order to sum up our discussion today, that natural environment and human aspiration, starting with the physical order, then to biological order, animal order, and finally human order. And these four orders sum up the units of the nature, and as a collectively we call it nature. And to understand that mutual fulfillment, that is harmony, is inherent in the nature, we do not have to create it. That what we have to do, we have to live accordingly. That is the harmony that already exists in the nature. Then the mutual fulfillment among the four orders will be realized, right? And there is the provision in nature for living with mutual fulfillment, right? So that was the part of my discussion in this session. I hope that I have been able to uh, satisfy your understanding. So far so good through this very short lecture on the 14th day of SIP in our college through the online platform. We hope to interact with you more in the college, face to face, in person, and I am available at the college uh, at the first floor of the administrative building. You can come there, you can have a chat with me, and if you have any uh, point of discussion, we can do that so well. Because of the limited time and scope here, within a very short time of one hour window, this is where I stop my discussion. And if you have any question, any clarification, or any sort of suggestion, or any kind of opinion, you must feel free to share here. And if it not permits here, you can come and meet me in person. I'll be happy to interact with you. Thank you very much, you all, for your patient hearing, and I wish you all the best for the coming days in our college, and enjoy your days in the Rkmgec Purulia. Thank you very much. Hello, is there anyone?
Yes, sir.
So I have ended my discussion. If you have any question, you can feel free to ask me, or should I leave the session here?
And so, thank you so much, sir, for sharing those insightful and thought provoking words with us. Your insights have not only deepened our understanding of natural environment, but have also inspired us to think more critically and act more responsibly. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very
Now
much.
now the time has come to conclude today's program. Throughout the discussion, we have gathered a lot of knowledge which will surely help us in our future. The attendance link has been already provided in the chat box. I request all my juniors to kindly fill the form. We will meet again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much, sir. Please wait for 2 minutes. The link will be provided. Everyone is requested to wait until the link is provided.